Welcome to the biology class, students. Today we will start the next chapter, new chapter, that is the origin of life, chapter 7 in your book. And now we will see what are the different parts or the content we are going to study here. The chapter overview: origin of life, abiogenesis and biogenesis, effect of oxygen on evolution to show that reducing atmosphere is essential for abiotic synthesis, modern concept of origin of life, Oparin-Haldane theory, Miller and Urey experiment, definition of protobiont and coacervates. Here protobiont is not in syllabus this year, so you can leave this definition, but as per the part of explanation it will come, but it is not the part of syllabus this year. So we'll start with the origin of life, as it is clear from the name that origin of life. What is origin of life? The origin of life is considered a unique event in the history of universe, and this origin of life has been the most puzzling problem for biologists since the ages. They have tried to answer the question that in which form the life originated on the earth, and there are several diverse views regarding the origin of earth and indeed the universe. So let me see some information about the universe and the earth. What is universe? Universe is about 20 billion years old. It includes huge cluster of galaxies which contains stars and clouds of gases and dust. The Big Bang theory explains origin of universe, which states that the universe arose from a huge explosion. They are unimaginable in physical terms of large entity. As the universe expanded, the temperature decreases. Hydrogen and helium were formed sometimes later. The gases condensed under gravitation and formed the galaxies of the present day universe. In the solar system of the Milky Way galaxy, Earth was supposed to have been formed about 4.5 billion years back. So understood the universe, its parts, galaxies, and in which galaxy the Earth is formed, that is the Milky Way galaxy. Now we'll see about some of the that information about the Earth. The Earth was formed 4.5 billion years before. Water vapor, methane, ammonia, carbon dioxide, they were released from the molten mass because Earth was the hot ball of the gases. The UV rays from the sun broke up water into hydrogen and oxygen. The lighter hydrogen gas escaped from the surface, while oxygen combined with other compounds, methane, ammonia, to form water, carbon dioxide. As the water vapor cooled, the water fell as rain and filled all depressions to form oceans and other water bodies. From the oxygen, ozone layer was also formed and life started appearing. That is origin of life. About 5 million years after the formation of Earth. That is about 4 billion years ago. So this is some information about the universe and Earth. Now we'll see here the various theories which are proposed by the scientists about the origin of life on Earth. So various theories were proposed to explain the origin of life: theory of spatial creation, theory of panspermia or cosmozoic theory, theory of spontaneous generation, theory of chemical evolution. So here we'll see the theory of spatial creation. What is the meaning of spatial creation? So according to this theory of spatial creation, the life originated on the earth due to supernatural event, an event which cannot be described, and all plants and animals appeared on earth in the form they exist today. So this concept is based on mythology. According to Christian mythology, life was created in just 6 days. And according to Hindu mythology, it is said that the life was created by God Brahma. So this was the theory of spatial creation. Then the theory of panspermia, it is not in your syllabus, but just is a part of competitive syllabus I am describing here. The theory of panspermia or cosmozoic theory says that the life has come on earth from other planets or outer space. Early Greek philosophers thought units called spores or pansperms came on earth along with meteorites, and they might have evolved into the present day form. So this theory says the life, it came from other planets. Then we will see the theory of spontaneous generation. What does it say? According to this theory, worms and other organisms can be produced by the action of moisture, warmth of sun and air. Mud, rotten waste, sweat and meat give rise to the spontaneous origin of insects and larvae. And this theory was supported by Aristotle, Epicurus and von Helmont. So here we don't need to study the detail there, only I have described here this in brief to understand. Now we'll see the theory of biogenesis, that is a part of your syllabus, biogenesis and abiogenesis. Theory of abiogenesis, it is proposed on the basis of these work of these scientists Francesco Redi, Lazzaro Spallanzani and Louis Pasteur. By their experiment completely ruled out the possibility of origin of life from abiotic material, and on the basis of their experiments they concluded that the life can arise only from pre-existing life, and that is why this theory is known as the theory of biogenesis. And they did the experiments. So let me see the experiments done by these scientists. First we will study the experiments of the Italian scientist Francesco Redi. What he did, he cooked a few meat pieces and placed them in 3 jars. You can see here the 3 jars placed here. Here this first jar he kept open, he left it open, means uncovered. And you see here the second jar is there, it is covered with the parchment paper. And you see there's a last jar, this is covered with the muslin cloth. And now he left all these 3 jars for few days. In a few days what he found? Maggots, these are the larvae of flies. These larvae of flies, they appear in this that first jar. You can see the first jar, it was the uncovered, or you can consider it A, B and C, you can name it like that also. So here in this first jar what he found, which was left uncovered, he found that some of the maggots are the larvae of the flies, they appear. Not in these 2 jars, one which is covered with the parchment paper and another which is covered with the muslin cloth. So many flies were found sitting on the muslin cloth on jar B and laying eggs, but no larvae appeared in the meat. So what he concluded? So Redi thus concluded that the flies arise from the eggs and they cannot appear spontaneously. So understood, children? This was the experiment of Francesco Redi. Now next experiment we will study, done by the Spallanzani. He also proved that the abiogenesis does not occur. He took some nutrients in the flask and sealed the neck to avoid any kind of entry, even of air. He boiled the mixture for 4 hours to kill the life already present in the mixture and left it many days. But he could not find any generation of life in the mixture. After many days, no generation of life. And after that what he did? He broke the neck of the sealed flask, as air can enter into the nutrient solution, and what he found? He found the rich growth, bacterial growth within few days. So he also concluded that the life cannot be generated spontaneously, it always arises from the pre-existing life. Now after the experiment of Spallanzani, we will study the experiment of Louis Pasteur. What he did? He also kept a mixture of sugar and yeast in the flask. Sugar and yeast. Yeast is a unicellular fungus. And filled it with half with the water. He turned the neck of the flask by heating it to give the S shape. You can see the neck of the flask is turned into S shape. So he heated the neck and turned it into the S shape. Now he heated the content of the flask till a strong current of steam rushed out. He then allowed flask to cool. What he noticed that the content of the flask remained unchanged after many days. Okay, but the bent portion of the neck there showed some presence of dust and microorganism. But when the it was not the growth of the microorganism in the solution. But when the neck was cut off, you can see when the neck was cut off, the solution of the flask soon developed a microorganism. Here there was no growth in the solution. Some microorganism found here in this area where the air could enter. Now when the neck was cut off, the solution of the flask soon developed microorganisms, and this clearly explained that the life cannot be generated spontaneously. So understood, children? The experiments of Reddy, experiment of Spallanzani, and the experiment of Pasteur. Now the next theory is the abiogenic theory, or the theory of biochemical origin, or the modern theory of the origin of life, or the Oparin-Haldane theory. What this theory says? This theory states that the life always arises from pre-existing life, but the earliest organism would have originated abiogenically. Means rejecting both the views there completely, like neither life arose genetically or abiogenetically, but the life always arises from pre-existing life, but the earliest organism would have originated biogenically at some time from some organic or inorganic matter as a result of the action of some external physical forces, electrical discharges, and the cosmic radiation. So far it is most accepted theory. The idea of biochemical origin it was first given by E. Haeckel, but it was first experimentally described by A. I. Oparin and J. B. S. Haldane. So these are the main theories of origin of life. Abiogenic and biogenic both we have discussed. Now this Oparin-Haldane theory we will study in detail in the next part of this chapter, and you will learn all this key term revise: origin of life, theory of spatial creation, theory of spontaneous generation, theory of biogenesis, theory of abiogenesis or theory of chemical evolution, and this biochemical origin we will study in the next part of this chapter. So revise it, read it from the book, and